Hi, Miriam with you today, and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to share a project I've made for Lisa Horton Crafts for some new releases coming on 21st of April on Create and Craft. So I'll show you the finished project in a short while, but as you can see it's a little album, and I thought I'd start by showing you some of the products that I've used to create it. So I'm just going to set this one aside while I do that. So firstly, on the 21st of April, Lisa is bringing you these Stamperia Time papers. Hope you can see that okay. Now I haven't got a full pack here because I have used them for my album, but these are absolutely beautiful, and the colours are very vintagey, very shabby chic. There's some gorgeous imagery in here, and as you could expect from Stamperia, the quality of the papers is phenomenal. Such good quality to work with, and they're double-sided, which gives you the hassle to decide which bits you're going to use, and sometimes I swapped them over, and even while I was creating I changed my mind because they're so beautiful. But these are coming along with some other papers on the 21st of April. So that's the Stamperia Time collection. So that's the only non-Lisa product I'm showing you today, but that's what Lisa's bringing with you to you on the 21st. So to share some of the other things I've done, I've used some of Lisa's Wordid Sheets. Now if you haven't seen these are excellent value for money. So you get them they come in a pack of sort of a craft coloured paper, black and some whites, and there's 4 sheets and 2 sheets of different phrases for each colour, and they're brilliant. I mean, just look at how many you get, and they're just the white, and then that's repeated in the black and the craft paper. And even though the paper is very good quality and very smooth, it takes ink brilliantly, and all you do is snip off the bits you want and use whatever you want. So I've used some of those for my projects. So there we go, Lisa Horton Wordid Sheets. You may have already noticed that I'm using my Nonstick Craft Mat here, which is the Lisa Horton mat, which is absolutely brilliant. It's definitely my favourite. If nothing else, it really doesn't move, which especially when I'm inking, when I'm die cutting, it's absolutely brilliant. It just keeps me in order really. And when I am inking, I can see exactly what colours I'm using on here. There's no trying to guess if I'm using a pink or what have you. I've also used these wonderful Anne Ruffles for Lisa Horton Crafts trailing foliage stamps. And these are stunning. These were released on the 3rd of April on the Create and Craft show. And there's some, the photo doesn't do it justice, it really doesn't. If you look at mine are off the sheets a little bit, but they're really good quality, really good sized stamps. And being photopolymer, it means you can see where you're stamping, etc. And what I've done with mine, I've made quite a few in the last few weeks. I've stamped them all out. I tend to do it in bulk because one, I use them a lot, but two, I just achieve a lot more when I do it in bulk. So stamp them in bulk, and I tend to sit in front of the TV in the evenings and just colour them in. I've used polychromo pencils, and I've then cut them out just using a pair of my sharp Tim Holtz scissors. And as you can see, I've cut as much as I can, but before I use them, I'll ink around the edges and just take away that little bit of white that you can see. So that's those. And then one of the final products, apart from what I'll show you on the actual album, oh actually no, I've got 2 final products. So firstly, I've used these tags and banners, and this is something that, so I've actually used this one, and I've used some Stamperia stone paper to die cut down. The reason I've used that is that it's bendable and flexible. So that's really good for what I need it for, and I'll show you that in a second. But I've used the tags and banners dies. And then finally I've used the Daisy Burst collections, the Ed's collection daisies there. And I've used the 3 smaller of those, and you'll see what I've done with those shortly as well. Okay, So to show you my finished project. So here is my little album. So you can see I've used one of the Wordid Sheets. This is actually one of the MDF clocks that you can get. You can buy grab bags of clocks from that craft place. I've used Lisa's little pearls with the amazing pick it up tool. And then these are flowers I've made with the daisy bursts. And what I've done is I've used cardstock to die cut them. I've then put little brads through them, and so to keep them all together. So I've laid them up, kept them all together. I've used loads and loads of water and then scrunched them up so that, as you can see, they don't look like the daisies on here. And it's given them a bit more dimension, and when they've dried they actually feel really quite thick and lovely. But they're almost like little rosebuds now, and I really like that. And so the middle of each of them I've put little more of the pearls that Lisa's brought out. So I showed you the banner die I used. So again, I'll show you, it's one of these, which I've cut out of some stone paper. I've actually used that to create my clasp. So to hold my little book together. And really simply, I used an alcohol marker to colour it, let that dry, and then I've adhered it and I've added just a little hole in it to put over a little clasp that I thought I'd use as the button. And you can see here I've used some of the wonderful Stamperia papers. The album itself, the construction of the album, is one of the books that came in the Lisa Horton Crafts bookcase and books that Lisa brought out in, I want to say February, I think it was. Absolutely stunning little bookcases, and then you get 5 of these, and there's some extras in there as well, a couple of extras, and this is one of the thinner albums, and I've put that together to use as the basis of my mini album. Okay, and then you can see here again I've used some of that gorgeous paper, and this one's actually upside down, but I liked the way the flowers fell, and I've added one of the wonderful trailing ivy there as well, trailing foliage. Okay, let's just have a look on the inside. So again, those beautiful papers, and I've just scribbled around the edges, and I've used some of the foliage there. I've created little tabs. This is some of the dies again. This time I kept them quite flat, but you can see they're quite layered up. I'll bring this to the camera a bit more for you. And I've put little pearls in the middle. And I love these papers. These time papers are just beautifully vintaged. They're all very different. You've got the contrast of the text, and then you've got the more grungy, dirty looks as well. That's got lots of depth to it, more rust. I've also created little tags using the tags that are in with the papers. And I've cut these out, so I've inked around the edges. I've put holes in them, punched holes, and just added some string. But I also used some of the wordage phrases on the back of these as well, and popped them in little belly bands that I've created just using some cardstock. And again, there's another one of those little tags. I just like to scribble around the edges, don't ask me why, no idea. I quite liked this phrase because of what the world's going through at the moment. So nothing changes if nothing changes. So I've chosen that one. Thought it was quite apt. Okay. Here's some more. Again, you can see the little daisy burst flowers layered up and glued together. Another one of the wonderful tags. I've also created just some little square tags, and I've added some foliage to that as well. And you can write on it, you know, you can add a little photo to it. It's all about doing with it what you want. So it could be memories that you write and you put in the little pockets. It could be photographs, whatever you choose really. Okay, there's another one of those little ones there. Not too sure what I'm going to do with that. That feels like it needs something more doing to it. But I'll come to that when I think of what I want. You could also stamp on some of these belly bands. So the beautiful background stamps, things like the crackle, the bubble wrap, that would look beautiful on here. Even the wood grain would go really, really well on these belly bands for a bit more texture. Another one of the tags, again with wordage quotes on the back. Okay, and I've just used some Cosmic Shimmer glue for all this, just because it's my glue of choice, but you can use something a bit less heavy if you want to. I absolutely adore this paper. I love the scribbly handwriting in the background and the beautiful roses. What looks to be sort of paint that's cracking and dried. There you go. I'll just show you that one. So you are my world. I've just drawn a few little hearts with that as well. I've taken some of the pictures and just cut them out and adhered them in here as well. And then some of them were just beautiful on their own, so I've just left them as those. And I really, really like this page. The colours are stunning. And I love it against the tags as well. Just really beautifully distressed look about it. And some more tags. Again using the wordage sheets on the back. Then the last couple of pages, we've got a little pocket there which I could use to keep some trinkets and memories in there. And you could also write on the little tabs as well if you wanted to. So if you created one of these for your family, and you could have a page, or you could write the dates, the photos, whatever you choose to. There's those pages. This is one of my favourite, I think. So, so beautiful. Such a lovely vintage feel about those roses. And then I've cut out another one of those quotes. And there you have it. So that's my little album created for Lisa's release on Create and Craft on the 21st of April. I really hope you've enjoyed looking through my little album with me, and hopefully by the time Lisa gets it for the show, I will have created a little bit more to it and done a little bit more. But thank you for joining me. Make sure you pop over to Create and Craft on the 21st of April 2020 to join Lisa Horton for Lisa Horton Crafts and see the beautiful Stamperia papers and all of Lisa's gorgeous and amazing quality products. Thank you very much. Bye.